And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Ooh, we are jumping right on in. Welcome back to ESL Open Cup Americas 234. We are here still in some of the earlier rounds. We're here in the quarterfinals, I should say, of the tournament. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have our American Zerg player, the Teal Zerg. Once again, going for a 15 opener here, going for the extractor trick. Representing Matcherino Esports, it is StarKiller. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the yellow Zerg player from the land of Taiwan, representing himself, I believe currently teamless. It is Shinobu. Let's go. We have our ZvZ, and StarKiller is going for a 15 pool opener. Interesting. Going for a pool first variation. I imagine going for a pool hatch opener. Meanwhile, Shinobu back at home going for a hatch gas pool standard opener out of Shinobu. StarKiller will have faster links. He will have faster links. This feels like a very safe opener. It's going to be pool into hatchery, into gas geyser. With this kind of opener, we're going to be able to get into earlier lings and queens, but it looks like StarKiller is banking up resources, banking up larva for ling production. So is banking that up. And we'll be able to move out across the map. The goal here is to apply some pressure. There we go. We have 4 lings on the way. We're not going for an all-in or anything like that, but this is just to apply some pressure to maybe get 1 or 2 drone kills, ideally, and get ahead economically. Also, if we can. Meanwhile, we have Shinobu going for his own standard opener as well. As lings are moving out. Gonna be zooming across the map. They be zooming, man. They be zooming. Wait, is this the quarterfinals or the round 16? My apologies. Sorry. I psyched myself out a little bit. I was thinking too far ahead. Round 16 match, round 16. The next series is the quarterfinals. Meanwhile, lings have arrived. Ooh, can we catch a drone? Can we catch one as Shinobu does pull away up? We'll get away in time. Nice control here with the drones. Does preserve his workers. Likewise, his own lings have arrived. And we are denying some mining time. We are forcing a big reaction here in the main. And that is all the damage we were hoping for. I mean, I say that. We were hoping for 1 or 2 drone kills. But StarKiller is going to have to settle for lost mining time as StarKiller does back off. And Shinobu has defended. Going to be pulling back in. Going to be transferring over and getting back to mining here after the natural. Meanwhile, StarKiller rushing into a Roach War. And we spoke about this earlier, about how aggressive and how chaotic StarKiller is as a player. And we are going for a Roach Rush. So far, StarKiller keeping up economically. Lings are going into the main. This is going to be a big moment here for Shinobu. It's not about dealing damage. It's about scouting our opponents. Lings, they do dive into the main. We get behind the mineral line, and we get a full scout of the main base. We get eyes on the Roach War. We see everything. We know all. We see all. Beautiful scout here from Shinobu. Is fully aware. Back at home, we need to respond. Third hatchery is on the way, but we need our own defensive Roach War. Need potentially even, I was going to say a spine crawler, but we're quite limited with what we have to work with. There we go. Spine crawler is on the way. What I'm referring to is that with the spine crawler, we can defend the natural, but we won't be able to defend the third. The third is going to be exposed. And it's going to be the goal of StarKiller to knock it down. Not just the third, but end the game. Here we go. Roaches, they are moving out across the map. How many roaches? 8 roaches in total, soon to be 10. 10 roaches and mass lings. Again, the third base, it's not about the third, it's about killing our opponent. As StarKiller did cut workers at 24. Half saturation at the natural. Flooding Roachling across the map. We catch the lings! Big loss for Shinobu. Bleeds out too many lings. And now we're going to keep on pushing. We can see Shinobu is trying to catch reinforcements, alas unable to. StarKiller does rally back. And the third base is going to fall. But remember, we spoke about this. We already knew the third base was going to fall. It's not about that. It's about how well we can defend the natural base. Roaches have arrived. Spine crawler in position. So far, good damage on the first roach. Decent damage is dealt. Banelings are morphing, and that's a lot of banelings. Yeah, 6 banelings here. Clutch transfuse keeps the spine crawler alive. Banelings looking for those connections. And they will connect. We will shut down the roaches. Shinobu will defend. Did cost him the spine crawler. but we will clean up these roaches. And with that initial defense, starkiller is droning. Starkiller is droning up, throwing down a wall of Evo chambers. And now we need to take stock. Now, Shinobu has a higher worker count. True, Shinobu has more drones slightly, has a better economy, but starkiller has better tech. Lair is on the way. Roach Warren is done. And we're getting into our 1-1 upgrades. Now, this could be for 2-base Roach, or this could be for 2-base Spire tech. We could skip upgrades and go for additional gases and go into mutas. Lings attempting to knock down the wall, but the queens are in position. And the queens will defend. Across the map, Shinobu will take the faster third, so Shinobu should have the better economy. Should. Oh! Ooh, Banelings don't quite connect. Lings, they slip into the main base. We're going for drone kills. We got a full scout. We get eyes on the lair. One drone goes down. Oh! Second drone goes down as well. A third drone. 3 drone kills. Suddenly, starkiller takes an economic lead. +1 range is on the way. And +1 carapace. So it looks like starkiller is not going into Spire tech. Starkiller is doubling down and investing into 2-base Roach. Now, Roach speed is still not quite ready yet, or it's still not being researched, I should say. I mean, Roach speed is faster than our Evo chamber upgrade, so it makes sense to delay. Shinobu instead is the one going into mutas. Oh, this is risky. It's a risky move. Overseer goes for the scouts. Changeling as well. Changeling is denied. Changeling scout is going to be denied. We don't get eyes on what is being researched with this lair. Hydras. Okay. Hydra's going to be on the way for starkiller. Not what I was expecting. Now, Shinobu does confirm. Shinobu did get eyes on the tech, is aware of the Hydra Den. Meanwhile, starkiller is getting it for safety as he has not confirmed any further tech in the main. Knocking down the front door. And starkiller, because of the droning we've been doing, it looks like we should be expanding. Looks like we should be looking to expand. Hydras are already on the way. Interesting. Really early Hydra production out of starkiller. That is going to be enough to support the army and to shut down these overlords. Again, interesting choice. Things are pulling back. Which Hydra is amassing. Additional Hydras on the way. That's a lot of Hydras. I was expecting like a handful of Hydras just to support, but no, we're investing quite heavily. Very heavy Hydra production. I mean, it does mean that we canceled the Spire. Yep. The Spire was cancelled upon seeing the Hydra Den, so Shinobu does just avoid that entirely. And that means that I want to actually say that Shinobu's army is superior here. He does have a more efficient army, more effective army in a head-to-head fight. Roach Ravager versus Roach Hydra. The problem here is that Ravagers, they do force micro and control out off of the Teal Zerg player. They force them to Kai back, to split, and that does mean that extra shots go off from Shinobu. Here we go, Shinobu getting out of control. Double the army supply. Doubling down on Roach Ravager. Drone up to 3 bases, and now we're moving out. And we're looking to overwhelm starkiller. Even Banelings, the Banelings are a little bit unnecessary, but sure, they're rolling in nonetheless. Yeah, they crash into the Hydras. Half the Hydras go down, and now the Roach Ravager can just snowball out of control. The Hydras, they do nothing, they melt. And GG gets called. Shinobu takes game number 1. GG. Shinobu does take the first game here. Again, able to survive the early game aggression, and from that moment, able to accurately scout and respond as well. If Shinobu had doubled down on muta play, then we would have seen a very different story. A very different game, especially considering how many Hydras starkiller had. As we saw, the Spire was cancelled, and we instead made Roach Ravager. And that was an army that starkiller was not ready for. An army that starkiller could not hold a candle to, as, again, Hydras, they do melt. They're quite fragile units, and they're not really designed for those kind of head-to-head fights. So with that, Shinobu takes a lead. Now we're getting ready for the next game. Let us go. Thanks for casting NA. Oh, we're always, Pappy, always. We're always live, always covering NA StarCraft as best we can. Always here for it, always. Yeah, I did notice that there's not as much coverage today. I think Artosis isn't casting, Steadfast isn't casting. It's just Pig is playing, so it's like ourselves and Chicken Man, I believe, as the two English casters. I was checking earlier because I was a little bit confused why Steadfast was listed on TL, but it looks like he's not interested in casting the earlier rounds, and he's like waiting for like the semis basically, which is like interesting. Interesting to say the least. But we are getting into this, and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Golden Aura, we have our teal Zerg player, the American Zerg representing Match Arena Esports. It is starkiller. It's his go-to. Going for the extractor trick and spawning across the map in the top left, we have our Taiwanese Zerg, the yellow Zerg, leading the series 1-0, Shinobu. Let's go. We are going to be settling in. And honestly, starkiller did quite well early on, you know, going for his earlier push, shutting down the 4th base, but he barely did not have enough to break the natural of Shinobu. The transition was an interesting one. Again, if starkiller had doubled down on Roach Ravager, maybe it would have been a different story, but because we invested so heavily into Hydras, we saw how little they did against the army of Shinobu. As Hydras are, in ZvZ, more of a supportive unit than anything. They're not necessarily a main core unit, unless you're up against Mutas, for example. Then it's a different story. Against Roach Ravager, they can be lacking. Again, at least as a core unit. Lunkers, that's a different story, if we did manage to get into Lunker production, for example. For now, we're settling in. It's going to be a Hatchcast pool, standard opener out of Shinobu. Meanwhile, starkiller did go for the earlier spawning pool, as the pool is about to finish. Pool is done. We have 6 lings on the way. This is reminiscent to Game 1. If you weren't here for it, in Game 1, we also had a 15 pool opener into 6 lings, and these lings were... Oh, so we're getting to fast ling speed. So it was a pool gas opener into a delayed hatchery from starkiller. So very fast ling speed here from our teal Zerg. Lings are moving out. And the goal here is to get some drone kills. We saw last game that we didn't kill workers, but we did delay a lot of mining time. Economic damage is, I guess, the goal. As lings are moving out, Shinobu back at home has to evacuate the mineral line. These 3 drones are looking exposed. And the lings will arrive. And we'll see if we can defend. It looks like the lings, they arrive just in time. Ooh, Shinobu for now does zone away starkiller. And for now, the drones are kept safe and sound. Now, we did point out the earlier ling speed from starkiller. It's not normal to go for the gas before the hatchery in such a way. And we see why. It's a ling flood. It's going to be a ling flood, and we are going to be transferring workers from the main to the natural. This is to make it look like we've been droning. These lings from Shinobu, they're about to move out, and upon seeing these workers on the low ground, they're going to assume that, of course, we have been droning. They're going to be assuming that starkiller has been focusing on its economy when we know it's anything but. And here we go. The lings are revealed. We're flooding across the map. Baylor's still on the way. We're in trouble. Oh, we are going to be in trouble here. As starkiller, he's flooding across the map. He does catch out the lings. Here, the slow lings are being caught. Baneliness is on the way on the low ground. Now, the queens will be able to hold onto the line. They will be able to hold onto the wall. The ramp, sorry. As they do wall off, but the queen is surrounded. And we can go straight for the hatchery. And the hatchery is exposed. Boys being pulled. We don't care. We just go straight for the base. Oh my god. Bold move here by starkiller. And he will get the kill. Will get the hatchery. The base goes down. And now starkiller is droning. He's racing back, or attempting to, catching up more lings, going for the queen. The queen is surrounded. The queen gets shut down. Lings are forced back, and we're going for another cancel. Oh, it's going to be close. And that's a kill. That's a kill, not a cancel. 300 minerals down the drain. Aye, aye, aye. Not like this. We deny the base. We kill the base for a second time. And back at home, starkiller, he's droning, is fully walling off. The Queens have reached the front lines to make sure we have some DPS to keep the wall safe and sound. And Shinobu's going for a Bane Bust. He's all in. At this point, Shinobu's all in. One drone almost goes down. GG gets called. We get eyes on the full wall. Shinobu has no answer, and starkiller will tie up the series 1-1. We're going to the ace match. Let's go. We are going to game number 3. Whew, a very risky move here out of starkiller to go for the Ling Flood. Alas, it was not scattered until it was a little bit too late. It was spotted in the middle of the map, or as Shinobu was caught out with those slow Lings. And even though we were able to wall off the ramp and able to defend the main, it didn't matter. We went for the natural instead. And we did kill the base twice there at the natural. Insane pickoffs. GG, well played. And now it all comes down to this. It all comes down to Ghost River. Will come down to Ghost River. Let's go. And you can hear the beeps. We are loading on in. The final game of the series. The ace match is upon us. And there's only enough room for one of these two Zerg players in the next round. Only enough room for one, and here we go, spawning in the top left-hand corner of Ghost River. We have our teal Zerg player, the American Zerg, representing Match Arena Esports, tying up the series, forcing the ace match. It is a starkiller. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the yellow Zerg player, representing himself from Land of Taiwan, being forced into the ace match. Can we bounce back? It is Shinobu. Let's go. As we have seen starkiller mix it up, but specifically on this map, I would not be opposed to another 15 hatchery timing. I say that starkiller's running up to 17, going for a hatch first. Okay. It is going to be a hatch first here from starkiller. Meanwhile, Shinobu, that is an earlier spawning pool and an earlier gas geyser. Okay. How the turns have tabled. Shinobu, going gas first, is going to be rushing into Ling speed, rushing to a Bailey Nest. This is hyper aggression from Shinobu. This is not a 13-12 or anything too all-in like that, but this is going to be hitting a later Ling speed timing. Hatcheries on the way, of course, for larva. But we should be investing into Lings, into Ling speed. We should be staying in gas and throwing down a Bailey Nest as well. The other option is a Roach Warren, but I feel like a Bailey Nest is more often seen. We'll see if that is the case. We'll see if we do stay in gas after we get 100 gas initially. The 100 gas is going to be for Ling speed. We're getting there. Do have our Queen on the way. Lings in production as well. We can see that Shinobu has prioritized droning initially. Just saturate our main before investing, before committing even. And we have our first two Lings moving out. So again, the hatchery is quite delayed. Queen soon to arrive as well. And Shinobu is holding onto the gas. Wait, what? Are we going for a lair? Hold up. I'm a little bit perplexed. Shinobu has resources to work with. Meanwhile, Ling speed is now on the way for starkiller, and we are massing Lings. First two Lings do arrive. And Shinobu is going for the drone kill. Does not get the worker in the natural. Is going to be denied. But what is the gas for? We have 170 gas. Are we going to base Roach? That has to be the option at this point. Otherwise, we would see Ling speed. And now Shinobu's in trouble. Shinobu is in a bit of trouble. We're flooding Lings across the map. We're still making more Lings from the side of starkiller. And Shinobu doesn't have anything. He's been droning the entire time. Shinobu's been droning. Shinobu has a bunch of gas in the chamber. Has soon 200 gas. Now we're going into the fast lair. Oh, we're being very greedy. We're being very tech heavy here. We have the lair. We're walling up. Yep, it's going to be 2-base Roach. We're walling up, getting onto 2 bases. We should be seeing a Roach one. We need a full wall off here at the natural. Now, starkiller did make extra Lings, and here we go. We're moving out across the map. And if we can't wall off in time, Shinobu has nothing. The Spine Crawler on the way. Queens pull back, but we have control of the low ground. Lings have arrived. Drones are getting picked off. We do have 3 queens. Is that enough? As the rest of the army does roll in, we don't quite get this around. We could even go for the Roach Warren. We have options. What do we go for? The queens, the roaches, or the drones? Boys are being pulled. Queens are surrounded. Lings are forced back. Shinobu is defending. I'm impressed. So far, Shinobu is holding on. But we do get a queen. We get 2 queens. Do manage to catch 2 workers here. The Roach Warren is on the way. Lings, they slip into the main. They confirm the lair. They get eyes on everything. And we're in a really weird game state. If StarKiller wasn't droning, if he had just flood Lings, I think he would have killed his opponent. I think we would have broken Shinobu if StarKiller was all in, but he wasn't. StarKiller was droning. He only made how many Lings? 18. Only made 18 Lings, and then began droning instead. So now we're in a weird game state. StarKiller, he's ahead economically, like 40 drones against 27. So like a massive economic lead here for StarKiller, and we're catching up with the Roach Warren, with the lair. Meanwhile, from the side of Shinobu, we have our own lair. True, it's done. We're still trying to catch up and drone as heavily as possible. Roach speed is on the way, but because of the damage that was dealt, Shinobu's timing is delayed. Ideally, I'm pretty sure we did want to hit a timing with Roach speed and with +1 range, but it's gonna take a while for that to really kick in. So I have to give the edge to StarKiller. I have to give him the edge. Getting our 3rd hatchery. Roaches are amassing. +1 range is on the way. So as the game goes on longer, StarKiller will have the upgrade lead and will eventually catch up with Roach speed. StarKiller is now amassing roaches. Shinobu moves out, but again, StarKiller is not droning. So StarKiller is going to be ready for this. The Overlord does confirm. Now what's interesting is that StarKiller is droning up, so he's revealing his army to the Overlords, but StarKiller is droning instead. Now what is scary is that this means that StarKiller doesn't intend to commit. That means he needs to back off and make sure that doesn't lose too many roaches. Oh, he does end up committing to the fight. Lings are going down. Nice control here from StarKiller. And if Shinobu pokes the bear too much, he's going to trigger a counterattack. And StarKiller will have the greater army. I mean, he's already got double the army supply of Shinobu. Shinobu is still droning. Oh boy. StarKiller, he's gonna hit like an absolute truck. It's gonna be insane how large this Roach army is compared to what Shinobu has. Shinobu is gonna be expanding, taking a 3rd. And Shinobu is supply blocked. Unfortunately, that was a really rough moment to be supply blocked. Now we're amassing roaches, but here comes the army. Looking at the supplies here, looking at the numbers, 25 roaches versus 3 roaches and 4 ravagers. You know, sometimes the soup does lie. True, sometimes the soup does lie, and this is one of the cases, one of the stages where it's not lying, Clappy. It's not lying. StarKiller pushing forward. Again, 70 army supply versus the 50 of Shinobu. The 3rd base is shut down. We start to step forward. We avoid the biles, and we're getting on top of the roaches. We're getting on top of the forces of Shinobu. Some of these biles will connect, but there's just not enough support. There's not enough here to protect those ravagers. We do start to step forward. We focus on the first ravager. We're down to 3. The queens are falling. The roaches as well. And StarKiller, he has done it. He's broken through the defensive line. Boys are being pulled. Ravagers are being targeted. And GG gets called. StarKiller will take the series 2-1, advancing on to the quarterfinals. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations to StarKiller. My condolences to Shinobu. It was an interesting opener to go for the faster gas and the faster spawning pool, and to use that to get into fast lair instead of into Ling Bane. It was risky. The thing that I didn't like about that, I mean, it's very give and take, is that we're on Ghost River, right? Very small map, so aggression is favored. And, I mean, Shinobu was working towards his own aggression on 2 bases, but StarKiller did hit first, he did hit harder, and StarKiller took a massive lead early on with his Ling Flood. Unfortunately, Shinobu just was not ready for that, was not prepared for the Ling aggression, and alas, did fall behind as a result. But with that, GG. GG, well played. StarKiller does take it, and now we're getting ready for the next round, for the next match.